Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning or good evening, depending upon which time zone you are in the world. I've got some people up very late at night today. So I'm delighted to be here for part 3 of a fabulous insight into how to protect yourself from cyber threats. And I was reminded, because of this 3-part series and the 2 of the sessions you've done already with us, Francis, of that old horror series, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street, part 1, part 2, and part 3. Well, we've had part 1 and part 2, and if anyone wants recordings of those, they're on our YouTube channel, or you can message us and we'll send them through. But there was some really interesting stuff in there. Now, I was talking to Francis a moment or 2 ago off air, and he was just explaining to me that even in the intervening week since the previous webinar, part 2, he'd come across a pretty horrific story in the world of recruitment. So, you know, we don't want to get too far behind the sofas and get worried, Francis. I'm sure you've got some ideas to protect us all today. But I'm now going to stop sharing my screen and hand over to you. So very much looking forward to your session.
Yeah, thank you very much for the kind introduction, as always, Mike. Yeah, it was interesting. I had this call from this company. It was actually from an insurance company that had to deal with a recruitment company who, this guy got a major cyber attack a couple of months ago, and his clients found out. So he had 2 choices. He either had to go into voluntary liquidation to wind the company down, or he chose to completely rebrand his business just to kind of get away from the previous name, which obviously you know, bared a heavy scar of losing all the data. So I don't know if that was the right choice. Personally, I don't think I would have done that, because people will find out. You know, we're doing so many dark web scans for people now on their email addresses, and finding so many email addresses and passwords for sale right now on the dark web. But anyway, so let's move on to today. So just a recap, you know, in the previous 2 sessions, we spoke about, you know, all the things that, you know, we spoke about a lot of facts and figures and how you can get hacked. And then in the second session, we went through a lot of information about what to do, God forbid, if you've been hacked. And of course, today's one, I think, is probably the most important one, is I'm going to share with you so many different tips and ideas on how to protect yourself. Or, you know, there's no way you can protect yourself 100%, let's be honest about it. But there are a lot of things that you can do to reduce your risk from, or you know, so that you can make sure that the hackers drive past your computer, not stop. And the same logic applies. You know, if you drive down a street, the burglars will always go to those houses with the least amount of security. It is just the law of averages. I'll share with you, I've got a lot of stats, but I'll share one with you which I really liked the other day from Hiscox. They do a lot of good insurance with for cyber insurance for different companies around the world, especially in the UK. And they said that a company is now 9 times more likely to suffer a cyber attack than a burglary. So my advice is cancel all your your content insurance and rather buy cyber insurance, because you've got a better chance of getting paid out. But it's true. So what can we do? I mean, there are so many things we can do. The first thing that I always insist that people should have is what I call a cyber attack plan. And if you don't have one, I can certainly give you a template. Just email us at security@westtek.co.uk. That's spelled WESTTEK.co.uk. Or if you go to our website, westtek.co.uk, under resources, you'll see there's loads of resources there that you can download, including a copy of the cyber attack plan. And then once you have it, go through the simple steps and fill out the details, and then print it out. Put it next to the coffee cups in the kitchen. I see so many times again where people have these cyber attack plans, but guess what? They leave it on the computer. So guess what? When you have an attack, what's going to happen? Your computer's going to be out of action, so you're not going to be able to get hold of your cyber attack plan. You know, the next thing for me is all about education. And that's why today we're doing what we're doing, because our mission in life here at Westtek is to create as much cyber awareness as possible around the planet, because the more people we can educate and make aware of the risks out there, the more people are going to be, you know, one step ahead, or putting better systems in place to not fall victim of these hackers. So there are many different ways of educating your staff. My favorite acronym, of course, is PICNIC, problem in chair, not in computer. And I think it's true, because the last line of defense we have in any business, or even at home, is that person sitting in front of that machine and they are clicking on the link that's going to take out the entire network, or at home take out the machine. And if we have time, I would like to demonstrate that to the attendees today, just to show you how easy you can click on a link that's got a virus in, and how it bypasses the current antivirus solution that's sitting on the machine. So coming back to the training, you know, for instance, we do daily security tips that we send out at 6:30 in the morning. So again, if you just subscribe to our newsletter, you'll get these security tips. But coming back to educate is you need to have systems or solutions in place where you can train people on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. This is a journey. This is not a destination where you do a bit of training today and then nothing again for a couple of months. And remember, if you're in the UK, this is a GDPR requirement. You have to educate your staff. And when it comes back to the house, you know, I urge you to also, you know, download and when you get these notifications or these training emails from us, share them with your kids, share them with your family, your brother, your sister, your mother, your uncle, aunt, your parents, because they're not going to get this training. So please share it with them. The next thing, which we see massive attacks coming through, 91% of all attacks come in via email. So of course, if you just rely, like I meet so many people that fall foul of this problem. So many people think, oh well, you know what, my email is with Microsoft Office 365, or my email is with Google, and then they don't add extra layers of security. Now, these companies are fantastic at what they do, but they provide email. They don't provide email security. Unless you pay a lot of extra money, they'll do this, and they do their bit, make no mistake. But our recommendation is that you go and you purchase an additional email security solution out there. And there's many brilliant ones out there. Mimecast is a good one, very complicated and to manage, but we prefer a product called Email Laundry that all of our clients use. It's very inexpensive, but it's brilliant, because, for instance, what it does, every email that comes into the organization, before it gets to the user's inbox, it checks every single link to make sure that those links don't go to a bad place, because it just takes one single click and somebody downloads a piece of software without them knowing, and then infect the entire machine. So moving on from that, the other thing on top of just using additional layers of security, please turn on what we call 2FA, or multi-factor authentication, or two-factor authentication. The banks have been using this for years, and finally it's starting to ripple down into applications. The way you do this is you go onto your, let's say you've got an iPhone, which I believe is the most secure phone on the planet. But let's say you've got an iPhone, you go to the App Store and you download an app called Authenticator. It's a Microsoft app. You can use the Google one, you can use other ones as well. But download it and then ask your IT or your security company, if you're not using us, to help you turn on multi-factor authentication in Office 365. Why? Because let me talk you through a scenario. If you think about right now, if somebody can get your email, which is your login email or user account for your Office 365 account, and they can get your password, they can log on to your email throughout the web access from anywhere in the world, and then you will not even know. And I've seen people getting hacked like this so often. And all it takes, again, is somebody to send you an email that you unknowingly click on it down, and then installs what we call a key logger. A key logger is a piece of software that records every single keystroke that you make on that computer moving forward. And that information is then sent back to wherever they are on the planet in some dark room. And of course, then they've got everything. They can see all your sent mails, they can see your contacts, they can see your diary, your to-do list, everything. Now, the moment you turn on multi-factor authentication, you need 3 things to log on. So in other words, you need your username, email address, your password, but then you need your multi-factor authentication code that's running now on your Authenticator app. Now, that code only lasts 30 seconds. So unless somebody is standing with a gun against your head, there is no chance they can get that code. So that's why, for me, all our clients, we insist 100% that they have MFA turned on. And don't only do it for your email, do it for your Xero accounting software, do it for your LinkedIn, your Twitter, your Facebook, your everything, because otherwise, don't be shocked if people log on to your data and start stealing your data, and then worse, start hacking into your client's data. Next thing is...
Francis, just to, sorry to interject there, a couple of questions coming in.
Sure.
The email laundry, how much does that cost?
I think there's different versions, but it starts at about £4, I believe, per mailbox per month. Okay.
And Microsoft Authenticator, so that's an app for your smartphone, obviously.
Yeah, it's free.
Okay, it's free. Okay.
Yeah,
excellent.
It's free. So you download it because it's basically almost like it's a manager, isn't it, of all your different codes, and those codes only last for 30 seconds. So you download it for free. It's just the setup that might cost you, but after that, you've got it forever.
Great. Well, thank you for those answering those questions. Back to you.
Sure. So the next thing we always recommend is to have a password manager. There are so many good ones out there. We have ones that we recommend to all our clients as well that we use internally. But the main thing about a password manager is that, of course, every time you go onto a website, let's say you log on to whatever, let's say you log onto your Xero accounts or to your LinkedIn account via via Chrome, it'll always pop up and say, do you want me to save the password? And I beg you, please, 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 please always say no. Why? Because unless you're using a password manager, that information is stored in clear text in your email browser. And if you think about a password manager, it's like a safety vault for your password. So not only does it save you time, but it keeps all your passwords safe. It's then replicated into the cloud and back down to all your other devices, which means it makes your login time from home or from on the train so much faster. But the main thing about a password manager as well is that it's protected by one big password. Now, I recommend you use what do you call it, a sentence, because a sentence it takes forever, if not almost impossible to crack. And the other thing, the last thing I say about password managers is, again, remember to turn on multi-factor authentication, because if somebody by some miracle coincidence could guess your very long password, because guess what? You've just downloaded something and put a keylogger on your machine. So of course, next time you go into your password manager, it gets your main long password. And from that moment, they can then log on anywhere in the world and check every single password that you've ever had. So you get the point here. I mean, there's so many different areas which I'll go through in a minute, but it's all about, in our world, it's about having multi-layers of security at every different level. So if you look at your user security, which is all the online stuff, and then of course you've got your local security, which are your devices. So moving on, the other thing which you can do, like I mentioned at the right beginning, is about setting up dark web monitoring, because surely we get requested this quite often and say, please, can you send us a dark web report on our email domain? You can't make the stuff up. And the things that we find on the dark web about people's emails, and they don't even know that, number one, that the emails have been hacked, and also that it's been lost. And also on the dark web report, you can see not only the email address, but you can see the passwords, and you can see who compromised that email and when, the date potentially. And the good thing about dark web monitoring, of course, is the moment within 24 hours of you having of your email address and password for whatever reason becoming for sale on the dark web, surely you'd want to know, I always compare it to, your health. If you start having a heart murmur, or you've got some, benign problem in your brain, you want to know. You want to know within 24 hours. Otherwise, you'll never know, and you'll find out when it's only too late. The other good thing that I'm starting to see quite a few of our clients doing now is to appoint what I call a security ambassador. So have one person in the business that's going to make it their task to look out, and I can show you loads of websites you can go to. And again, remember on our website, westtek.co.uk, there's a resources section where you can download a lot of information, because we work very closely with the likes of the police now, the cyber police in multiple locations. We work closely with Lloyds Bank, Barclays Bank. NatWest has asked us to do work with them. So a lot of different councils, and a lot of them give us information, especially action fraud, which we've now uploaded to our resources page. But coming back to the security ambassador, so if you can get your security ambassador to go at least every month to our website and download the latest stuff, they can then share it with the staff or share it with their kids. Moving on, updating software. This is so important. In the old days, if you remember, we used to have Microsoft updating once a month, or maybe once a day. If I tell you that every 4 seconds there's a new version of malware coming out on the planet, do you see that we have a problem? So many times when I do talks, I start off by saying, ladies and gentlemen, we have lost the war. And it's true, because every single second, people around the planet are trying to find holes and bugs to get into our systems. Now, that's not only Microsoft. Over 90% of attacks are now coming in via email browsers, via your Adobe, via your WinZip, via all these other additional applications that you're using. So if you are not updating your software, and we used to do it every Monday night, we used to call Monday night maintenance night. We now do it real time. So all our clients that we look after, we update their systems whilst they're working. Why? Because before we did this, we had a 7-day risk window. You can imagine if we updated their Adobe on a Monday night, and on Tuesday there's a new hack that came out because there's some hole that was found on Adobe or on Chrome, then the clients had to wait 7 days. No chance, So now that's why we've moved to real time. So please check with the current partner you're using, and if they're not doing it real time, then seriously, you need to either ask them to change the way they're doing it or come and talk to us.
Francis, we don't have a question. We just made me smile in the chat room when you talked about security ambassador. And
okay.
Martin has said it's a cyber bouncer. The bouncer outside the nightclub who protects.
That's me.
I thought it was quite interesting. Cyber bouncer. Anyway, back to you.
Yeah, no, I like cyber bouncer. I mean, this is what we always say. You know what? I think the more visual we can make this stuff, the better. And that's why I use a lot of different stories, because or real facts, because unless you make it real for people, they can't see it. The fact that I always ask this question to people. I say, listen, if you find out right now, you're sitting at the office and you get a call from your wife saying, listen, somebody's busy breaking into our house, what would you do? Oh, well, no, we'll definitely, I'll drop everything, I'll phone the police, I'm going to drive straight home and try and sort it all out. I said, that's interesting. So why aren't you doing that about your computer systems? Because they are being broken into every single second of the day, 24/7, 365. Oh, I didn't think about that. Why? Because they can't see it. You see, and this is our challenge. People don't see the threat. So of course, because they can't see it, they don't think it's happening. So here's one of my favorite subjects, and this is all about, bring your own devices. No more phone charging. Please, ladies and gentlemen, do not allow anybody on this planet to plug any phone or any device into the USB port on your computers at the office or at home. Because you can't honestly tell me what data or what infection or what risks are on that device that you've now just allowed somebody to plug in via one of our famous Westtek cables into the USB port of a PC. And this, like I said, please, and this goes the same for home, because my advice there is you need to shut down all charging or all the USB ports to only allow, so that you can still, there's actually ways you can set it up, and we've done that for our clients, you know, to only allow, what do you call it, the transfer of power to go through the ports, not any data. But to be sure, just stop it, please, and give people charging points around the building, and then at least that way you won't suffer this risk. And the same goes for you know, for Wi-Fi. You know, I speak to so many people about this, and I say, okay, tell me, how many of you, and let's say there's 100 people in the room, I say, how many of you have a guest Wi-Fi at home? And they all look at me, what do you mean guest Wi-Fi? We normally have that only at the office or at hotels. I said, precisely. So guess what they do? So of course, people come around to your house, you know, and your uncle, your auntie, your teenagers' friends, they come around and they go, oh, can I log on to your Wi-Fi? Yeah, of course, no problem, because you're all such lovely people. And you allow them straight onto the Wi-Fi, which is now, of course, connected to every single device on your network, which, of course, is now connected to your laptop, which has a VPN back into your main headquarters. Do you see the problem here? So all of a sudden, you might as well just give them your data. Why bother, you know, making it hard for them? So what am I saying here, please? You need to set up a guest Wi-Fi at home and at the office, and do not allow anybody on this planet to connect to your internal Wi-Fi. Rather let them connect to the guest Wi-Fi. And if you don't know how to set up it at home, phone BT or phone Virgin or phone TalkTalk and ask them to talk you through the process, because it's really easy. But from that moment forward, at least people that connect to your guest Wi-Fi will go straight on the internet, and they won't be able to jump across and go into all your local devices. How are we doing for time? You know, I could talk forever about this stuff. So next point, cyber insurance. I put 7% down there, but I believe that's gone up slightly now. It's gone up to 11%, which I'm very glad to hear. But again, I urge people, and again, we can make many recommendations as to good companies to use, you know, to please go and take out cyber insurance. Remember what I said in the beginning of the presentation, that you are 9 times more likely to suffer a cyber attack than a burglary. So please speak to your broker and get this done, because the prices are just going to go up and up and up and up. So Cyber Essentials accreditation, again, a really good thing to do. You know, it works on it's a government accreditation, and there's 2 different versions. You can do the light version, which is this, which basically looks at 5 different areas from security point. And I can see this becoming mandatory in every single business in the UK. Because why? At least when you are Cyber Essentials accredited, then people can see that you've actually taken this seriously, and that you have gone through, you know, a process to look at all your existing setups and your existing security and your firewall and your updates and your patching to make sure that you lead somewhere. The next one up from that one is the Cyber Essentials Plus, which basically means that they then come to your office and evaluate what you've put on your form that you've submitted. And then, of course, finally, you know, as a highly recommendation is, if I read a report this year, which I thought was very interesting, and they said that, you know, companies don't normally leave their IT support provider. However, something like 28% of owners of small to medium-sized companies will leave their partners or their IT suppliers this year because they feel that they're not taking the security or the cybersecurity seriously, which I think is, I'm delighted to hear this, because people need to take this seriously. And unless your IT supplier or partner is constantly bombarding, is probably the wrong word, but educating you and helping you and telling you what to do, you know, then it's you know, change partner. Seriously, just do it.
Francis, there's a question
Yeah.
there. On the, if you just please go back one slide.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
On the Cyber Essentials accreditation, have you seen that coming into preferred supplier tender
a lot.
documentation? Yeah, where
we have, and especially if you're dealing with NHS or medical or, you know, and I think a lot of people are now waking up to the fact that, listen, you know, unless you've got the minimum of Cyber Essentials accreditation, I don't want to deal with you. But the problem that I have, and I'll tell you with Cyber Essentials, I think it's a good starting point, but it's a time slice. It's like you're taking your car for an MOT. You know, it doesn't mean, so once a year, your car's checked to make sure, yeah, all the lights are working, everything is good, the brakes are fine. But 6 months down the line, you know, you might have a nail in your tire or some problem with your brakes. Doesn't mean your car's still 100% MOT ready, is it? And that's why Cyber Essentials for me is a good thing. It's a snapshot, but it's only the beginning. You know, it needs to, this whole thing is a journey. It's not a single destination. And you need to constantly update, look, improve, educate all the way through. But it's better to have it than not. So sorry to answer your question in a long way, but I'm quite passionate about this fact.
Thank you.
So, you know, there's loads, like I keep on going back to the resources page, but there are many different ways that you can protect yourself. And one of our best, I think, or most popular downloads that we have is the 15 ways to protect yourself. So please download it and look at the different areas, you know, so you can, you know, tick the ones you have and haven't, and then at least you'll know very quickly where you are and what you need to do. Please subscribe to our security tips. You know, you'll get the attack plan, dark web scan. If you'd like, we do offer to all our attendees today, we offer one free report for a dark web scan. So if you're brave enough, send me your email address or put it in the chat, and then Mike will send it over to me. Give me your domain name, and I'll run a scan, and I'll send it to you, and have a look at it, and we can maybe discuss what's on the report. The other thing which we love to do, like we're doing today, you know, we do a lot of webinars, we do seminars, we do workshops, but I need at least 45 minutes to get, and that's why we had to split this into 3 different sessions, because there's just so much information to cover. And normally when I do the talks, people always say, I wish there was more time. And I'm like, I know, because I want to give you more and show you more. Then of course, you know, one of our flagship solutions is security everywhere.co.uk, and we have a lovely tagline. We say for 50p a day, we'll keep the hackers at bay, and it's true. So can I do a demo, Mike?
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, just to show people, because you know this is so interesting. So what I did was, I want to show you a. Let me know if you can see. I'm going to show you something which I think is quite scary. So we just recently renewed our Cyber Essentials, and part of the process, they said to us in one of the forms we had to complete, it says, can you prove to us that when you download a virus that you have adequate protection in place? And I thought, definitely we have, because we are a bit, you can imagine, as a security company, we have to be squeaky clean. So we have 6 different layers of security on every single one of our machines that we use for supporting our clients. But I'm going to show you real time now what happens. You go to this website called eicor.org. It's a government site that has on purpose put files on that has malicious coding, in other words, like a virus. So I'm going to show you what happens when I click on one of the viruses, okay? So you click on it, and it says, yeah, okay, I want to download the file, right? So you download the file. So imagine this came in by an email, for instance. There was a link, and you won't even know, you know, you go, no problem. I go to the download, I click save, and whoops, okay, up comes WebRoot. Now, WebRoot is renowned for being one of the best antivirus software on the planet. It says, this site is high risk. WebRoot has blocked the website you are trying to access. But guess what? It's blocked the website. It's too late. You've already now downloaded the file. The file is sitting on your computer, okay? So it's completely missed the file. Now, I'll show you something. You can't make this up. So we use, we run security everywhere, of course, on every single machine. And what's happened in the background, I'll show you as soon as the reports come in, because this is a live demo, of course. So what's happened now, of course, Sentinel-1, or this is the solution we use. the Security Everywhere, which is, you can find here, www.securityeverywhere.co.uk, has now intercepted this file, killed it. Well, at first it recognized it, it killed it, and reported on it within 3 seconds, which is mental. So let me show you what the report looks like, just to give you an idea. Just finding it in my inbox. So you can see exactly. So what's happened here, it's seen the threat on my machine, and I'll show you another one. And this all happened in seconds. I mean, seconds. So, and there you go, the kill, and it's killed it. I mean, all within 3 to probably 5 seconds. And look, WebRoot just didn't do the job. And if you go to my downloads folder, remember that file name? If we go back, the file name was eicr.com. And guess what? If you go to my downloads, look, the file is gone. So not only did it kill the file, and it reported on the file, all within 3 seconds. And this is why, you know, I feel sorry for people that do not run this kind of type of technology, because without this technology, you've got no chance, you know?
Francis, what is that technology called? Because we're all familiar with firewalls and antivirus, but what is Sentinel actually called?
What this software does, and again, I just want to show people on the report. This is the kind of report that we send through to our clients when we detect a threat. So you can see the problem, how it came in on my computer, where it came from, what we did, how we identified it. Look, we identified it at 12:47 and killed it at 49 within 2 seconds. I mean, that's impressive, isn't it? So, and also with this, I'll answer your question in a second, Mike. But you can see here, it killed it and then quarantined it. In some cases, if it wasn't sure about what happened, we could even roll the machine back to the prior to the attack state, which is pretty clever. We can even disconnect the machine. Let's say you've got 10, 15, 5 machines on the network. We can isolate that single machine from the network, fix it, and then put it back onto the network without interrupting any of the other users, which is just amazing. So what is this stuff? Unlike, you see, the problem with normal normal solutions out there, you name them, they only protect you against known threats. They don't protect you against unknown threats. And also, the other thing it does, with this solution, it's backed by a team of 100 security specialists sitting in the US. So, you know, if you have a problem, let's say you're sitting in a lovely bar somewhere on the planet, you know, on a Saturday afternoon, you might not have 24/7 support with your IT support company. So of course, if you end up having a major hack, you know, they'll have to wait till Monday to help you fix it. Whereas this will instantly log on and kill it, because it monitors all the traffic going in and out of the machine. It identifies that this file was trying to communicate to somewhere in Russia, or, you know, some bad place on, you know, some bad area on the planet, and it just intercepted and killed it. I have another scenario. I don't know if I had a post on LinkedIn about this only on I think it was 2 days ago, and my son, who's 16-year-old, you will not believe this. So on Friday, Sunday afternoon, he went to this game website, okay? And he just downloaded this game, unbeknown to him, you know, didn't think anything of it. And he clicked on run. And of course, guess what happened? So WebRoot missed it. You know, the Microsoft, what's it called, antivirus software called, I can't remember now, that missed it. We've got unencrypting software that we use on all our machines, that missed it, and Security Everywhere kicked in and eliminated the file, very similar to which I've just demonstrated to you. And he was even none the wiser. All we saw was the reports coming in on Sunday afternoon after South Africa beat the Japs in rugby. But my point is, you know, he didn't know. And if that solution wasn't running on his system, I tell you what, it could have infected every single machine at our house. Do you see how this is a
Wow.
problem?
Amazing. And you've kind of held the best bit till last there, I think, Francis. So it certainly opened my eyes. And I mean, I've loved working with you for the last 3 webinars. There's some great stuff in there. And I love your passion and the fact that you're championing people to take more notice of the threats. The Hiscox quote is incredible.
Yeah.
Certainly got me thinking about locking my door a bit more carefully, so to speak, in terms of technology. And I think you've just helped everyone to have more awareness of it as a principle, really. So I want to give you a big thank you, and I look forward to working with you again in the near future.
Absolute pleasure, Mike. Hopefully, once this goes out, many more people will be able to take care and take action, and not. So my last bit of advice is if you're unsure, do not click.
Great bit of parting wisdom there. Very simple, but brilliant. Thanks very much, Francis. Look forward to working with you again.
All right, you take care. Bye.
Bye-bye now.